spoke with Cole Gustafson of Kevin Anderson and Associates. And he began by explaining what proportion of big-name authors actually write all their own material.
There are there are more known sort of entities like that. James Patterson comes to mind, Tom Clancy. Most of the time when you're seeing an author putting out a lot of volume, there might not be a ghostwriter, but there could be a really heavy editor behind them helping to produce all that content.
So then what sort of teams do some of these people have for those who don't necessarily have ghostwriters?
Teams of freelancers and editors, book marketers. I mean, that's something that our firm does a lot of, is just not only supplying writers and editors, but taking it a bit further to find that right agent, find that right publisher. Maybe it's a hybrid publisher. Find that right book marketer, a PR person. It's very much a good book is a collaborative effort.
So tell us a little bit about the writing process for ghostwriters.
Yeah, I like to say, and we really believe that not all authors make for good ghostwriters. I think there's a bit of you need to have a bit of a loss of ego to really dive into the voice and the story of another person. So our best ghostwriters, I think they really practice careful and thoughtful listening so they can ask careful questions. But yeah, you kind of lose yourself to sort of embody the voice of the client you're working with or the author you're working with.
And what about the ghostwriters themselves? Who are they in terms of not just their skills and background, but their demographics? Who do they tend to be?
It's kind of funny trying to give identities to ghostwriters, but you see a lot of academics, people from MFA programs, so creative writers, a lot of former editors at major publishing houses can have either ghostwritten or will strike out on their own to ghostwrite. So I'd say publishing sort of insiders, and then those from academia, more sort of creative writing MFA programs.
And just how involved are some of these big-name authors when it comes to the finished product?
It really depends on the author, on the publisher. There's conjecture, and I'm not trying to start a war or anything, but there's conjecture. Stephen King might use a ghostwriter. He contends, like Daniel Seal, that he's never used one. And so it could just be, yeah, he signs off on what, signs off on what goes out, what doesn't have his name on, things like that. A lot of our clients that we work with, say you can be as hands-on or sort of hands-off as you like to be. I think the more hands-on kind of makes for a better project overall.
And in terms of the sort of salaries involved, is this a viable full-time career option?
It most certainly is, yes. You can, Hillary Clinton's ghostwriter, one of the ghostwriters she's used, can earn upwards of, $250,000. So, high freelancers can do that. But just the writers we work with, our average range pays from anywhere from about $25,000 to upwards of $50,000. And so we have writers that are doing 4, 5, 8, 10 books. And so it really allows for a freedom to not have to be, not have to go down the traditional sort of route for writing, the struggling author, having to work an adjunct job at a university. I love adjuncts, but I mean, that's tough. Or having to, really just kind of crack into the publishing world. So there's a lot of freedom that ghostwriting does provide, and a lot of sort of financial mobility as well.
And I just want to take a quick look at some of perhaps the challenges that you see in the ghostwriting industry. You have things like AI algorithms claiming that at some point they'll one day be able to write novels and write books without our input. Are there any sort of challenges that keep you up at night in the ghostwriting industry? Right
now, I think sort of the predominant narrative is that books are dying, but as you saw in that previous program, they're really not. They're still strong. People are just learning new ways to read and to get access to that. So I mean, maybe the biggest worry is just publishers take less chances on things. They want more known sort of more entities, brands. But I mean, you see that in Hollywood too. It's like when we got the 8th Charlie Angels iteration going on right now, and it's like, so. But yeah, I think just selectivity, but I'll save the the AI nightmares for later years.